We're here today to announce the issuance of updated bulletins and new guidance to assist state and local law enforcement agencies, prosecutors, and defense counsel in complying with state law as California prepares for the incoming Trump administration on Monday, as you all know. These bulletins address a number of different things: local and state law enforcement agencies' obligations under California law, limiting state and local participation in immigration enforcement activities. That is current California law. New guidance to provide defense counsel and prosecutors with information to affirmatively let defendants know about the immigration consequences of a proposed plea deal, and updated guidance and resources for law enforcement prosecutors and victims of hate crimes. I want to reaffirm California's immigrant community has my support and continues to have the support of my office. We will enforce the rule of law. We will make sure that rights are honored. Our updated bulletins describe local and state law enforcement agencies' obligations under California law, which prohibits the use of state and local resources to assist with federal immigration enforcement. That means that California law enforcement agencies are prohibited from investigating, interrogating, detaining, or arresting persons for immigration enforcement purposes. They can't honor transfer and notification requests or provide information regarding a person's release date, except in certain circumstances outlined in the bulletin. There are exceptions. They may not allow officers to be supervised by federal agencies or deputized for immigration enforcement purposes. They may not enter into new contracts with the federal government to house or detain non-citizens in a locked detention facility for purposes of immigration custody. And they're prohibited from participating in joint law enforcement task forces where the primary purpose of the task force is immigration enforcement. To be clear, California law enforcement agencies under California law are still able to investigate, detain, or arrest individuals for criminal activity under state or federal law. We've issued new guidance to provide defense counsel and prosecutors with information to affirmatively let defendants know about the immigration consequences of a proposed plea deal. Prosecutors should consider the avoidance of adverse immigration consequences in the plea negotiation process as one factor in an effort to reach a just resolution. This doesn't prevent or in any way prohibit prosecutors from prosecuting individuals for criminal activity under the law. We're also urging interagency domestic violence death review teams to adopt their own protocols to better review cases and deliver just outcomes for instances of domestic violence. This is especially crucial as members of our immigrant communities can often be more afraid of approaching law enforcement to report abuse. And, unfortunately, in light of the President-elect's xenophobic rhetoric and the uptick in hostility toward immigrant communities that we anticipate, we've issued updated guidance and resources for law enforcement, prosecutors, and victims of hate crimes. This includes knowing what signs to look for if you are a victim of crime. You have the right to not be targeted for your actual or perceived identity or support for people of that identity. You have the right to file a report with local law enforcement. You have the right to participate and be informed about the criminal case resulting from a hate crime in which you were the victim. You have the right to obtain a U, also known as a Victim of Crime Visa or T Visa certification, which is also known as a Victim of Human Trafficking Visa. You have the right to seek payment for your harm. You have the right to seek payment in civil court, even if the incident does not qualify as a crime. And you have the right to help your community prevent and respond to hate. So that's all outlined in our bulletins related to hate crimes. I want to take a moment to say if you witness or are the victim of a hate crime, you should report it to your local law enforcement agency. Earlier this month, we released a series of guidance to help California immigrants better understand their rights and their protections under the law and assist public institutions in revising their policies and procedures in order to comply with state law, because here in California, we're not going to spend our time, money, or resources going backward. President-elect Trump's plans for mass deportations and arrests, his claims that he'll deport U.S. citizens and use the military on American soil to execute his plans are inhumane, illogical, and fiscally irresponsible. Immigrants are the backbone of our nation. Immigrants make America great. Immigrants make California great. California is home to nearly 11 million immigrants, nearly 30% of our population, more than any other state in the nation, proudly so. Immigrants who are our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, our co-workers, immigrants who bring in new ideas, innovations, perspectives, help us advance as a state. It's no coincidence that California is the most diverse state in the nation and also the 5th largest economy in the world. Immigrants drive California's workforce and California's economy. 1 in 3 workers in our state are immigrants. Immigrants and children of immigrants make up over half of all workers. And I don't just say all of this as Attorney General. I see this as someone who myself was born in a different country when I was 2 months old. My parents made probably the most important decision ever made in my life. That decision was made not by me, but about me by my parents. They looked at themselves and asked if they could raise me where I was born in the Philippines and ensure that I had freedom and democracy and human rights and civil rights and the rule of law, due process, the things that were non-negotiable for them, that were foundational for our family's future. And unfortunately, at that time, their answer was no. A dictator was rising to power. Martial law was around the corner. Democracy was at risk. So they brought me to California, where they knew I could have those things and I could pursue my California dream. They were seeking opportunity and a better life. And they were absolutely right about their projections about what would happen in the Philippines. Exactly 1 year from the date of my birth, martial law was declared. Free and fair elections were over. Democracy gone. Political opponents to the dictator were arrested, imprisoned, tortured, and killed. My mom was a political opponent. And so my parents knew that for the things that they wanted, they couldn't just put their chin on their elbow and look out the window and hope for it and wait. They needed to fight for it. And so they began working for the United Farm Workers of America. My mom lived in California as a lawful permanent resident for many years. She had a green card. And when I ran for my first competitive election, she decided to become a U.S. citizen so she could vote for me. So from that day forth, I knew I would never be shut out in any election that I was involved in because I would at least have one vote from my mother. I hope. Her vote is private to her, so hopefully she voted for me. My story is one of millions in California and across this country. We're a land of immigrants, and we're better for it. California's diversity is our story. It's our strength. It makes us great. It's our X factor. Immigrants are such a critical piece of that. Unfortunately, not everyone sees it that way. It's true that we're entering days, months, and years of uncertainty, but one thing is certain: California will remain the beacon of progress it has always been. We will continue on our path of progress. In California, progress will prevail, including when it comes to celebrating our state's beautiful diversity. You can be sure that as California's Attorney General, if Trump attacks the rights of our immigrants, I will be there. If Trump breaks the law, we will see him in court and hold him accountable. Thank you, and with that, I can take any questions you might have.